Good morning. I'm Mike from Michael's Motor Cars, located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and we have a very significant car that we'd like to offer for sale. So come on over and take a look at it. I'd like to take our time and really go through this car, go through the provenance on it, the history on the car, and as it is today. The car is a 1956 Austin-Healey 100M Le Mans. It is a true factory-built Le Mans car. This is one of the 640 cars that were actually constructed in the Austin-Healey factory, and we have all of the documentation to prove that. The brief history on the car, and we do have the British Heritage Certificate. The car was built March 15th, 1956, which is exactly right for a factory-built 100M. It was delivered to the US. It was always a USA-built car. It was delivered with a laminated windscreen, miles per hour speedometer, heater, US spec lights, and of course the louvered bonnet. We also have on the Heritage Certificate that they confirm that the vehicle was originally built as a genuine factory 100 Le Mans car. We then know that the car went through a series of owners. We do not know the early history on the car. However, we know that the car was owned by a William Caudell of Houston, Texas, and we do have this verified by copies of the original titles to the car. The car was sold by William Caudell to a Martin Hilscher, also of Spring, Texas, and that was sold in 1997. Martin Hilscher died in 2001, and then his wife sold the car in 2002 to Avalon Motors of Conroe, Texas. The car was then sold around 2002 to BMC Classics. Now, BMC Classics was a well-known Austin-Healey shop. It was a restoration shop and dealership that was owned by Harold Bradner. Harold Bradner then undertook a complete nut and bolt body-off frame restoration on this car, which was done 2002 to 2003. I spoke to Harold, who is now retired. He's an old German guy. He remembered this car. He's well known. He did a lot of Austin-Healeys, and specifically he did about 10 or so 100M cars. So one of the leading experts on 100M Le Mans is the fellow who restored this car. He's also known as the guy that won first place in Amelia Island for one of his restorations. So very, very nicely done, exacting restoration was done on this car, starting with a very good car to begin with. And I failed to mention, when the car was sold, it is in the livery that the car was delivered in. So according to the original certificate, it was Reno black, Reno red and black, dual tone. So it was just as it appears today. It had a black interior, it had a black hood, which of course is the convertible top. So the way you see the car today is the way it left the factory in 1956. We have documents showing all of these owner transitions with earlier titles on the car, so its lineage is clear. We have verification from Harold Bradner that he did in fact do this car, and we have the bill of sale from Harold Bradner. He sold the car to James Hawkes, who was a collector of Austin-Healeys. He had 3 Austin-Healeys and loved this car and had it since 2003 and maintained it beautifully. So we purchased the car. We also now have, the car is now listed and fully registered on the 100M Le Mans registry. Bill Meade has seen photographs of this car, gone over all of the details of the car, and has also verified it is a true factory Le Mans car. And we have the certificate from Bill Meade declaring that. So we have a car with great provenance in its original form, one of the best restorers that has done it, and today it presents extremely well. When we started with this car, we shipped it over to Proper Noise, which is a local high-end restoration shop that also does mechanical work on cars, owned by Ed Sweeney, who is a judge who judges up at Greenwich and other concours, very familiar with Healeys, very familiar specifically with 100Ms. They worked on the car. We'll be happy to show all the receipts of the work that we had done. We had a new set of tires put on it. They worked on the brakes. Of course, they did fluid changes and just brought it up to perfection. The car is ready to be used, can go anywhere right now, and is ready to go. So I'd like to talk about some of the specifics on this car that we looked at when we received the car. It does have, and this is typical of a brand new restoration, the first thing is it does have the correct original little M, the 100M. The M designation is right there. It is held in place by the little single wire, which they normally broke and fell off, but it's there. It's difficult to show with the camera, but we do have detailed photographs of this. When you look inside the webbing of the grille, the lower right cross of the structural is bent slightly, and that was done at the factory when they put the camshafts in the motors. That is there on this car. Coming along here, and we do have detailed photos of all of this. It does have the correct VIN stamping, which is right here on the rolled edge on the louvered hood, which it should be, which is correct. I will be curious for the 100M crowd to see what they think. I believe this car has an original airbox. I don't know for sure, but I talked to Harold, I talked to Bill about it. They all said if it looks beat up and kind of rough, it's probably original. This does look like it was handmade, and it has the brass plaque on it. The motor is a numbers matching motor and correct to the car. The only thing that is not correct that we could find is the distributor. The ignition distributor is not the original numbers matching distributor. Everything else is. The carburetors are. The carburetors have the correct numbers on them. I could not identify the hand signature on them, the engraving. My suspicion is they're there. They may have been polished off when it was restored. I don't know. I spoke with Joe, SU Joe, and he said a lot of them are gone. So that's for the new owner if they want to use a microscope. It may or may not be there, but they are the correct carbs on the car. Coming along the side of the car, I mean, the car's condition is flawless. Of course, I put the windscreen down just because it's so damn cool looking like that, and we can do it. The windscreen, of course, works. It goes up and down like it's designed to. The shut lines, everything are beautiful, probably much better than when it left the factory. Beautiful chrome wire wheels, the new Vredestein tires. It does have a full tonneau that is essentially new. The top also is essentially new. I think it was done during the time of restoration, but it's been in a garage, in a heated, climate-controlled garage since the restoration. The interior of the car presents beautifully. The leather is excellent, and it's all done correct and properly. The gauges are all working. Please take the time, watch the test drive. Ed Sweeney at Proper Noise said he and his mechanics thought this was one of the best running 100Ms they've had. So for some reason, it's really dialed in nicely. During our research on the car, I did remove all of the cockpit surrounds, the one in the front, the doors, even the rear one. All four pieces have the correct VIN number etched into them, again confirming the authenticity and the originality of this car. All the numbers are correct. Shut scene is beautiful. Coming to the trunk of the car, it does have right here, and again, we're taking photos of this. The VIN number for the car appears right here on this ear, as it should. That is all correct and proper. The trunk is all done properly. We have the spare tire with the leather strap, and all of it is just done beautifully. This car could go to any concours anywhere and do very, very well. We also have with the car over here, we have the side curtains and the bag that the side curtains live in. And you can tell, they look new. They're not brand new, but they're in incredible condition. We have the tool bag that goes with it. We have a jack and the tools to operate the jack. We have an additional hammer. I know that is not a correct hammer, but they actually are nice to use. They're weighted nicely, and they don't damage the wing nuts right here. And we have an older, original Austin-Healey owner's handbook on the car. Coming around this side of the car is just gorgeous. I mean, everything is straight and true. The chrome is all beautifully redone. On this side, the same as the driver's side. Door card is beautiful. The dash, just wonderful. The overdrive works correctly on the car. The transmission shifts beautifully, no need to double clutch. Goes into all the gears very smoothly. And just, if you're looking for just a really well-documented, well-known, well-cared for, genuine 100M Le Mans, I would consider this car. Another little caveat to this car that not everybody's aware of completely, the 100M Le Mans cars do qualify for the Mille Miglia in Europe. They are one of those niche cars. 100M Le Mans did run in the original race. Yesterday, I had Mark Gessler, who is involved running Sports Scuderia, which is a Mille Miglia race team, which I'm involved with. He stopped by my shop just to look at this car and also verified what the car is. So the Mille Miglia, both in Italy and the warm-up in America, which is next week, are open to cars like this, specifically the 100Ms. This car, with all of its certification, would be a car that easily could get accepted into the Italian Mille Miglia. I also know, I race against some of these cars in the vintage circuit. These are very potent cars. When they're done properly, very strong cars, very light, fun to drive, and just beautiful cars. So please ask us any questions you may have. I know it should generate a lot of conversation. Bill Meade just sold his Healey recently on Bring a Trailer. Now we have another one up that is similarly certified. So I'm very anxious to see how this auction goes. Please ask us any specific questions. We'll take photographs. We'll submit all the documentation we have on the car and be happy to share all the information we have, including Proper Noise, who just worked on the car. So thank you very much for taking the time to listening to all of this. And we hope we find a really nice home for this lovely Austin-Healey. Thanks.